Hello, welcome back to Media Snack, live from New York.
Greetings from London.
So what have the trade bodies ever done for us is the question. And those of you that are fans of Monty Python will know the echoes there of a very famous scene from The Life of Brian where they say, what have the Romans ever done for us? And they call out all these amazing things that the Romans did for us. We're thinking this in response to, we talk about these trade bodies a lot over the years we have done. We are now on episode, whatever we are, 200 and something. And a Media Snack does not go by probably without some reference to the good work that the trade bodies do. But there are some naysayers out there, and there have been, they have their critics. What we thought we'd do is just to kind of take an opportunity just for a second, just to kind of applaud the trade bodies from our perspective. And we do this a lot, but we believe, very lucky to have the leadership that we have in this industry. Every industry has some form of trade associations, but they're probably not as active and as productive as ours. And so I think we should just recognize that for a second. And the ones that we do talk about a lot, the ANA, the Association of National Advertisers here in the US, the WFA, the World Federation of Advertisers, which is really the global trade body, and other advertiser trade bodies are members of the WFA. ISBA, the Incorporated Society of British Advertisers, is the UK version. And then there's the AANA, the Australian version, and then many, many others around the world, too many to list, all doing great work and increasingly collaborating with each other, which is really good to see. So when you step back, you can actually appreciate the work. And we just took a moment to reflect on some of the things that are going on, and there's a lot going on. So let's just talk through this. And I want us in this episode, and as you're viewing this, hopefully it might give you some appreciation just for the scale of the work that's going on for the trade bodies representing the interests of marketers. Okay. So, right, let's just start a little quick rundown then. What is going on right now?
Well, after 15 long, difficult months where nobody was able to get together, it is now event season, especially in the US, right? So, you're the first market, I think, that has been able to get together at conferences in person after such a long time. We had the media conference last week, and what was interesting about that was that it was a hybrid version. So there were representatives there in person, but they also streamed a lot of the content. So I was able to watch a lot of the segments that I found interesting being kind of zoomed through to me back in London. So that was a format that kind of really worked. And I know that are you going to Phoenix, I think, next week?
Yep, going to Phoenix next week. So last week was the ANA's media conference. Next week, there's a picture of me. Next week, there's what they call the Advertising Financial Management Conference, which is one of the ANA's bigger conferences. That is really focused on the procurement, sourcing, purchasing side of the business. Really good. So I'm presenting, or co-presenting, I should say, with a good friend of ours, Sherry Ulsh from the Hershey Company, and we're talking about this idea that as Media Snack viewers, you're probably very aware that we talk about this idea of media for growth. So next week's session, I think on Tuesday afternoon in Phoenix, the balmy 120 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment in Phoenix. So looking forward to that. We will be talking, hopefully in some air-conditioned event space, about the principles of media for growth and encouraging particularly the procurement community to embrace that idea of media as, the narrative of media as an investment in growth. So that's really exciting. We've got that coming up next week. I think we just flashed up some of the details. If you can join virtually. The ANA now are saying that they're probably lots of their events, if not all of them in the future, are going to be these hybrid, which is great. They've seen a huge bump in attendance, virtual and participation, which is really good to see.
Yeah.
In a few weeks' time, and then we've got the ANA's Digital and Social Conference. Here we go. There's another picture of me.
Well, very good. You really are leaning into the conference season. I like that.
We didn't put these up to showcase like pictures of me, but I will be attending that one as well. And again, we're doing a case study there. You can just see down on the bottom left of the screen, Amy Good, who's leads the media team at Hershey. And we got a really good case study there about a programmatic buying exercise that we did to really test agents and stress test kind of agency and supply chain capabilities in programmatic, which is kind of really cool, which Amy's led that initiative. So we'll be in California for that one, talking about that. So as you said, busy events season.
That's right. But we can't talk about the ANA without mentioning the infamous celebrated transparency report. So actually June marks its five-year anniversary.
That's right.
And this was a landmark study that came out that lifted the lid perhaps on some practices that were going on in the US.
Yeah.
And if I look back on kind of IDCOM's history and on narrative around value and convincing marketeers that there is a better, stronger purpose around media than just cost, I think that was a pivotal moment. I think that was when the tide of change happened within the industry. It's when advertisers started asking deeper, stronger, more sophisticated questions around media and around their agencies. And I think that the agency community responded equally well. So you know, the influence that transparency report had on the industry was enormous.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been actually marking that anniversary with the ANA. In partnership with them. So we've created, and we'll link down below to all of these different initiatives. So if you're interested in any of these, you can kind of access them. But a couple of weeks ago, we published the beginnings of a video series that we've been doing in partnership with the ANA, interviewing some key players and key media stakeholders from brands like Ford and Bank of America. We've got Amy, the CEO of Initiative. We've got Reed Smith. We've got Bob Leadis, the CEO of the ANA, and others. Reflecting on actually exactly that thing, which is a 5-year journey since that landmark report, and really how that's had an impact on the industry. So that's really good. That's been hosted by PJ Leary, who runs IDCOM's assurance, and was actually part of that study. He was part of one of the authors of that original study guidelines back in 2016. Was it 2016? Yeah, 2016. Okay.
So that, I mean, that was a major event, and kind of not resting on their laurels. The ANA again have just ignited arguably an even bigger work, an even bigger initiative. Yeah. And this is around digital transparency and understanding the supply of money through the programmatic chain. There's a picture of the RFP, which is an open RFP, and any company could submit a tender for it, and we have, and I'm sure you'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. But why that is so significant is because if I was a client now, the one thing that would probably keep me awake at night more than anything else would be the amount of wastage that I would see within my digital supply chain. And that would horrify me. And it takes a brave and bold kind of trade body to lean into that challenge and try and figure out a way around it. Because if we can get that right, it will have an enormous impact, positive impact on the entire industry. And so, I mean, bravo to the ANA to grab that kind of bull by the horn and try and kind of deal with it. So I think submissions were in today, right? Yeah,
we've this morning submitted our proposal, which is a joint initiative with a number of other parties, which I obviously can't talk about. It's a confidential proposal, but I probably can say that we submitted a very, very big proposal today. A lot of work went into that. Really, really interesting brief, which has given huge scope to really try and tackle and unpick and de-risk all of this stuff for the advertisers. So very, very interesting. And bravo for writing the brief. ANA, thank you for that.
That's right. And we the talk about me being kind of a client and having sleepless nights. We had an episode a few weeks ago, Tom, where we were reviewing the KPI framework recommendations that the ANA had put forward, and this was the architects of these KPIs were the Media Leadership Growth Council, a committee of global media leaders, US media leaders that have taken it upon themselves again to push the agenda, the narrative. And if I was a client, that's exactly the kind of forum that I'd want to be involved in. Smart, same-minded media professionals trying to push forward a more positive, progressive media agenda. And again, it's under the auspices and the guardianship of the ANA. So that's another brilliant initiative that they kind of led this year.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, isn't there? So you mentioned it was the name that I kept messing up in the episode. I couldn't remember it. The Media Leadership Growth Council. I've been practicing that a lot. I got told off for messing that up. But that is great. Just the idea of having a smaller group that can really set the agenda in media, which is, as you say, such a big concern for the CMO and hopefully the CEO and CFO as well. It's a lot of money at stake. So, that's really been a really good initiative to see. And this KPI report was the first output of that. Yeah. Which Charlie Chappell presented actually at the ANA Media Conference last week. Okay, so we're talking a lot about the ANA.
Yeah, closer to home, my trade body.
Yeah,
here in the UK is ISBA, and ISBA do equally important work representing the UK based advertising community. Yeah. And the work that they did in particular around agency frameworks, the media agency contract framework, was absolutely brilliant. And that was on the back, I think, probably of the ANA report, and it illustrated the need for media leaders to take greater diligent oversight over their contracts with their agencies, and making sure that everybody was accountable for what was going in to those kind of contracts. And it was the ISBA team that kind of stepped forward and defined what those best practice agreements should look like, and they're now working on the third iteration of that. So they're not remaining passive within this space. This is the third time that they're looking to renew that, simply because the market is changing so quickly. Yeah. The demands of advertisers and the way that they engage with their agency partners is changing so rapidly that something that was valid 2.5 years ago is actually probably out of date. So, I know that the team down there are doing some great work around the third iteration of the media framework agreement, and also championing best practice when it comes to agency management. This was a piece of work that we were heavily involved with ISBA in. There we go. Media agency management best practice guidelines, and we shared our findings and our recommendations with all of their media and procurement teams within their members, hoping that there would be elements within that they could take and infuse within the way that they kind of manage properly and progressively, and in a more partnership way with their agency partners. So ISBA do a fantastic job as well.
Very good, Bravo. Good. As I say, all of these things we'll link to down below, because there's loads of resources here. And if you've missed any of these, there's lots of stuff going on over the last few years. These great initiatives, we'll link down below so you can find what you need.
Yeah.
Okay. So last but not least, by any means, WFA, World Federation of Advertisers. So
right.
Again, they never stop, doing fantastic work. All these guys. So what's going on there?
Well, I mean, they formed the Global Media Board a number of years ago. So some very similar to the function that the team in the ANA have got. This was a media board of global media leaders, representing significant spend within the industry. And again, their agenda was not only to sort of share best practice amongst each other that could then be infused down within the WFA's other membership groups, but again, to champion a more progressive, sustainable agenda around media. And part of that, the output of that was the Media Charter of 2018, right? And that was a really, really positive piece of work.
That was great. I mean, we still really love that, because it was the first time that anyone had really put down some best principles for media. I think we did an episode, I'm trying to remember, it was, what number was that? Episode 124. We can use Media Snack as kind of milestones. Not that we ever really anything to do with this stuff, but it's just kind of interesting looking back. We're like, wow, that's 124 episode. Yeah. So episode 124, we called 500 words that could change the industry. And that was really the executive summary of this media charter written by the WFA. Brilliant at the time piece. And they created this board of, as you say, these highly influential advertisers, and they had collectively, I think it was the first time that really collectively advertisers have really kind of put their name behind something as a gift to the media industry. It was a very, very powerful moment, we thought. And I think it's gone on to inspire lots of really other good good work from WFA and others.
Yeah. But my personal favorite, and you know how excited I got when we were reviewing this particular puppy in the Media Snack series, was Project Spring, where you know, I think it was an epic piece of work that talked and championed the more kind of ambitious side of procurement, and tried to reset the KPIs and the approach that some procurement stakeholders and companies go behind. And this was such a powerful piece of work, because not only did it bring in the kind of the language of value and growth within the kind of the procurement mindset and narrative, but it was perfectly aligned with kind of the marketing narrative, and anything that can bring the procurement function and the marketing function and the media function closer together in a parallel kind of narrative is great. So, and actually that won our Media Snack Person of the Year award.
Yes.
It was so powerful and so well received, and that was one of the highlights of last year, actually, for me, in terms of reviewing trade body activity.
Really good, really good. I forget the episode number. We'll link again down to below that, because we did a nice episode with Stefan Lurk from the WFA where we talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, and they graciously accepted our small nomination or award for Media Person of the Year, which was that collective, which again, a collective team, dozens of people on that procurement committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just recently they've kind of launched an enormous census, right? The Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Census.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, this is the final thing we'll talk about, because this is really a strong call to action as well. You can see, so this census launched on Monday, and it's open for one more week. It closes on July 2nd. We will link that. That will be the first link you see below this episode once we put the links in, because we really encourage you to do this. It's I think, you know, and credit to Belinda Smith and Jerry Dakin and others who kind of have led that diversity, equity and inclusion initiative at WFA for the last year or so, or for more, but to really power this through. Jerry, I think publicly had called it, I think, the greatest collaboration that our industry has ever seen. It is a global census with the ambition to create a baseline on these things from which they can then build an action plan. So really important. And so we're doing what we can to help promote and make sure that as many people, and it's for companies and employees. So we really want this to be widely distributed. I think we've all done it, I believe, and we encourage you to. Very, very important. Again, landmarking, I think we'll look back and say a really important landmark. Thank you, WFA, for kind of pushing these things forward.
You're right. They haven't done much, especially not recently anyway, trade press.
Yeah. What have they ever done for us? What have they ever done for us? So, ask yourself, what more could you be doing? It's really important that we continue to all support these trade bodies. They may not get it right every time. I'm sure that there's things that maybe they could do better, and I'm sure they appreciate everybody's kind of pointing those things out. But where they do land, and we've probably just given our top 5 or top 10 moments over the last 5 years from just those 3 trade bodies are really significant. Without them, we would be in a real mess, I think, as an industry. Do not assume that other people are going to do the heavy lifting for you. If you're an advertiser and you're debating whether to pay the dues to the ANA or ISBA or WFA or whichever one is your local, really think hard about it, because you get a lot. You get all of these gifts that set a direction and a North Star for the industry. But there's all these wonderful opportunities to connect with your peers and learn on a more of a kind of micro basis and network with others. Yeah. So, hope to see you at events next week or at some point in the future. Keep supporting these. And, we just wanted to say to all of those trade bodies, thank you for your continued leadership and, giving us a vision of what's possible.
Yeah, very good. Well said.
We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.